Right, okay, so in this lecture I'm going to attempt to explain to you what a texture map is, or what it was, I should say, and what a material is. So, a texture map is really a generic term for an image. I mean, texture map is an old term that we used to use when the 3D first came about, and we used to apply an image to a 3D model to give it some texture, and that's why the term texture map came around. But today it's not really that simple anymore. It's a lot more complicated than that. It's not just one image, it's several images that you apply to a model. So for example, this is a texture map, believe it or not. This is from, you'll see this later, this is from a tree, from one of the trees that we've modelled. And this, believe it or not, is a mossy bark. That's a texture map, although today it's called an albedo in physically based rendering, and I'm going to go through all that in a separate lecture, so don't worry about that. Just think of it as an image. Image 1 here. This too is also a texture map, although this is called a normal map. And this is what gives a model its sort of bumpiness. But again, I'll go into more detail later. So these two and many others, so you can have quite a few images that make up the surface of a model, and they're effectively texture maps. Although, like I said, it's an old term. We don't really need to use that anymore because it's not really relevant. So if you hear the term texture map, it's really referring to these images that we apply to a model. Okay, so keep in mind, so basically, to answer that question, a texture map is an image that gets applied to a 3D model. Although there's more depth to it than that these days, and I'll go into that in more detail as we move forward. So that's that question answered. If I move these out of the way. So, what is a material? Okay, so a material is this box here. So a material consists of many images. So for example, like I showed you just now, this image here is what we call an albedo. So image 1 you'd put into your material as your albedo. This one here is a normal map. I mean, you can clearly see it's also an image, although looking at it like that you don't really understand what's going on. But you're not supposed to. It's not for humans to look at that and go, oh yeah, it's nice, it's a nice picture, a nice image. It's for the computer to decipher what's going on in that image. So you don't really need to worry about that too much. So that's another image. So that image goes into your material as well. And basically, lots of images make up one material. Now this material could be, like in my examples that I gave you, these here, this is of a tree bark. But instead of just a picture of a tree bark, I have lots of images that make up the material of a tree bark. So this one here could be your albedo, what we call albedo, and I'll explain what that is. And this could be your normal, and this could be your roughness, if you like, which is, you know, a grayscale image. And there's plenty more, you know, down here that make up this. And this material is my tree bark. So you can see all these images make up a material, and they get assigned to the material. And again, I'm going to be showing you how to do that, but I just want you to grasp the concept of what images are and what materials are. And once you've got your material, it is then assigned to your 3D model. Once it's assigned to your 3D model, your material will look like tree bark. I'm going to write it down here again because I've written it underneath. So your model looks like that. So you get all your images. So you get all your images down here. You make your material, you apply it to your model, and it looks hopefully like your desired result. So basically, that's what textures are. These are textures, although we don't call them that these days. We call them different things. You know, they're images basically of different elements of your material. So these are textures, and a material is multiple textures and properties to make a particular material, i.e. bark, stone, grass, whatever it might be. You can have various types of material. And once you've made your material from all your images and your settings that I'm going to show you later, you then apply it to your model. So this part and this part here is done inside Substance, and the application of it is done inside Unity. So, like I say, 3D Max we only use for the modeling and for the applying of our UVs, and you know what UVs are because I explained that to you in a previous lecture. So build your model, apply your UVs, create your images, build your material, apply it to your 3D model, and that's the process. That's fairly straightforward. You know, as we do it, this will become much clearer. Much clearer. It just looks like a squiggly bunch of lines at the moment, but it'll become a lot clearer as long as you sort of grasp what's going on. So multiple images can make up one material, and the material is then assigned to the model to give it its properties and to make it look like the desired object, basically. And that's essentially it. There's a lot that goes into PBR, and I'll cover some of it in the PBR lecture. So that's it for now. I'll see you in the next lecture.